Beloved Father, Mother God, we call upon your presence, and we allow that call to come from our hearts. And in our heart, we place all that is unlike your love, all that is the ego, all that is our confused, afraid, fearful self. This isn't the part you created us to be. We know you did not create fear in man, therefore it cannot be there. So we place onto the altar in our hearts known and unknown fears, known and unknown inhibitions, all that is stuck within our being. We place on this altar. Take as much as you can. You know better than we do how much we can handle releasing. Just know that it is our heartfelt intention to release as much as possible today. On the altar, it lifts, it rises, and becomes dissipated into the nothingness it is. None of this has any power over us. Nothing has power but our Creator, and our Creator is but love. So now, having lifted this out of us, we call upon your presence, your discernment, to bring into our hearts all that truly belongs there. Restore us, rebirth us, activate in us your holy presence. And for this we give thanks. And so it is.
This is a selection and words from Mother Teresa. The greatest disease is feeling unwanted, unloved, and uncared for. We can cure physical diseases, but the only cure for loneliness, despair, and hopelessness is love. There are many in the world dying for a piece of bread, but there are many more dying in the world for a little love. Feeling unloved is a much greater hunger, a greater poverty than the person who has nothing to eat. There's a hunger for love, and there's a hunger for God. Be kind and merciful. Let no one come to you without coming away better, happier, and loved. Spread love wherever you go, and so it is. And now for our mission statement, we have these white cards in the back of the seat backs if you need to look at it, especially if you're new here. And it's the first statement. Let you get that out. Okay. The Global Center for Christ Consciousness is a spiritual center for students and masters on the spiritual path. We are dedicated to the awakening of the inner Christ and to creating a world of love, peace, joy, and abundance.
Good morning, everyone. Thank you for joining us online as well. Thanks. Can you share with me what is on your mind today? What topics would most fill your heart? Pardon?
Nothingness.
Okay.
Non-duality. Surrender.
Hold on one sec. Go ahead.
Divine correspondence.
1 second.
Hummingbird.
Hold on. What did you say over there?
Surrender.
Thank you.
Vidya and Jan.
Awakening the inner Christ.
Anyone else? Nice. Topics ranging from the nothingness to vulnerability, several other things in between, and we'll dance the dance, and we'll incorporate these and address these as much as possible. The last few weeks, I noticed, it's clear that I've talked about the divine triangle many times, meaning the triad of God, the triad of the ego, the triad of our whole being. And, we address this in many different ways. Non-duality was one of the questions, but as soon as you see yourself being here, there's a dot. In terms of geometry, sacred geometry, there's God. And as long as we are in the oneness of God, we can live in that total bliss. But you might as well forget that, because people forgot how to do that. So as soon as you thought there's a God in you, there's two. As soon as you think there's a partner in you, there's two. As soon as there's anything but God, you activated a momentum. Now two things are moving apart. And everybody lives like this. And it's funny because we think, well, if I just get married, I will stop this thing. Because we know deep down we live in duality. We know this deep down. Every single day we see duality all around us. The guy that wants to get in on the freeway that you don't want to get in. Or you're getting on the freeway and you hope there's something else. And they may not have your best interest in mind. Usually we think they don't. There's always them. There's the conspiracy term of them. That's what they want you to believe. Who's the they? There's always someone else, something else that has taken your good or has never given you the good or the goods. So when there's a second thing of any nature, of anything, God, other people, that's what this universe is. That's what it's designed to do. When we handed power of attorney over to our ego that we created to do this, we said, we're choosing to forget our divinity. So you're hired. And make sure that we never remember it. Why would we not want to remember it? Because by giving it up, we feel horrible. We feel fear, terror, lack, limitation, all kinds of things. When you give up your divinity, it means now you're subject to death. You're a mortal. Not a divine being, but a mortal. So as soon as this happens, the big bang, boom, of the universe is actually also you and everything else. Boom. And it's moving apart. And people don't even know this. Constantly. There's people in relationship that'll say things like, I think we've grown apart. No kidding. Everything is going to grow apart. My kids don't love me anymore. They don't call me as much as it's always something. Someone else's fault, what others did you. Everything is about duality in this universe. Let thine eye be single means get away from your dualistic eyes. These are called opinions, not eyes. And these things gather information. And we think, in neuroscience or psychoneuroimmunologists, they'll kind of go into these kinds of concepts of validating this. So in neurology and in the science of vision, we actually think, what the eyes do is they gather information, the brain discerns what's going on, and then you react accordingly. It sounds very logical. Gather information, figure out what you want to do, and then you take an action, right? That's actually not the way it works. You've already decided what you're going to see. If you have unhealed wounds, you're already going to attract what these eyes will pick up, which would be like, I saw this thing today, gathering information. I don't really like it. I better defend myself. But you already decided you're vulnerable. One of you asked about vulnerability. You already discerned. You already decided. You already judged yourself as being less than divine. Now you're vulnerable. Now you're up creek. Well, I wouldn't have if it's what I saw. You see, and that's what we do to validate judgment. Well, it's not me. This is what this person did. This is what they said. I have proof. I have evidence. It's even on video now. Anybody with a phone could tell you and show you what really happened. What's really hard to do is the word responsibility and say, I actually played a part in this. I know that the evidence is clear that someone wronged me, and people do hurtful things. That we're not pretending they don't. But somewhere I had already determined what's going to happen in this lifetime. We all are creating our reality before it even happens. Now, I know the story here. Somebody out there is going to sit there and be angry or upset because they're going to think he's making me, like responsible for my wounds. We're co-creating these things. It doesn't mean that other people were actually kind. They kicked you, and what they meant was, I really like you. I'm not saying that. But we create our own reality, and we're already setting this up. So if I perceive myself as kind of previous lifetimes, I remember being kind of taken advantage of. We're seeing the world is very harsh. So I came to this lifetime already tentative. Okay, now, if you come to this world tentative, like extra sensitive kind of a soul, then that means you're sort of vulnerable to people's hurting you because you're prey. They're predators. I mean, that's what happens. If you enter this world vulnerable in the sense like a child or a person that's vulnerable to people, they're going to attack because that's what predator animals do. Oh, look, someone with no boundaries, someone with no backbone, somebody that doesn't have a protector around them. But if I've already decided that I'm afraid of this world, I'm just saying, that means you're now prey to predators. So technically, even though it's a bummer that predators come at you, technically you played a part by not having backbone. You follow what I'm saying? And I'm not saying you're bad for it. I'm saying it just is what it is. You've decided this place is too intense for you, for example. Well, if you've already decided that, guess what's going to happen? And so it is. But for it to prove that it's too intense, which the Creator, you, said it is, it's going to have to comply. It's going to have to do things to prove that it's too intense. As we heal ourselves and our stuff, you're removing the pieces that the world would have tried to mirror to you. It's kind of like being born again. Instead of showing the world my wounds so that it could mirror them to me, they're gone. Now those who were hired by contract when you were between lifetimes and said, listen, when I'm 30, let's hook up. And then it was going to go totally terrible. But what happens is that age comes, the contract shows up, and you're not there. It's just not there anymore. So they show up, and it's almost like a sci-fi movie. They show up, all the things line up, they appear in front of you. They've got the astrological things your astrologer said they would have. They've got this and that. The psychic said they would have this color hair. It all lines up. And you look at each other and go, huh. And you just walk away because the contract's not there anymore. You don't know what to do with that person. And they just kind of scratch their head. What they're really saying, I think I was here to abuse you, but yeah, I know, isn't that funny? But you're retired. I fire you. Goodbye. And you let them go. This is what can happen for people that heal. There's a triangle of relationship. When you start any relationship, partnership, business partnership, parents, siblings, whatever it is, all relationships, including the one, me standing here with you, we're having a relating. All relationships start like this. The good news is it's a beautiful symbol. There's me, you, and God. And the reason it points up, one reason it points up is because it puts God as the priority up here at the top, right? All right, now that's the good news. The bad news is it makes us feel like we're here and God is somewhere else. That's the bad news. Now, how do we change that? You take the triangle metaphorically. When you decide you want to have a healthier relationship with anyone, the triangle's going to go from here, although it can be there as a metaphor of its own. But what you do is you'll tilt that pyramid to go this way. And now you have two people walking closer to God. Because God isn't up there somewhere. God is right over there. Would you like to join me in a holy relationship? What does that mean? Holy relationship. Some people, they've asked me about that. How do I have a holy relationship, Michael? And they're asking me what they mean is, I want to have I want to have a one and only perfect twin soul, twin flame kind of, they're twisting it. That's not what holy relationship is. Holy relationship means you let go of all that. No, I want to keep some of it. I want to get rid of the karma between me and someone else, but I want to keep the twin flame kind of romantic thing going. If you want to surrender your relationship to become divine, to become holy, to become in God's hands, you can't cherry pick the parts you like. It means unconditionally, done. I don't know who you are. I was thinking you were this and there's a past life connection, and let it all go if you really want to do this right. God, I don't know what this relationship is for, but show me. Let the Divine Mother take two people, turn it this way, and have these two people, watch this carefully, they will walk towards God. One way to do that, think as a we, not as an I. If it's an I, then that means I'm over here, you're over there, and we're already going to be either stagnating or growing apart or going backwards. There's no, or one becomes the other, codependent. The only healthy model is two people not only going forward, and this is the most confusing piece. There's stagnation, there's moving apart, there's going backwards, there's codependence, and then there's one that seems like it's the right one. We're both moving forward, but there's something wrong with it. No closer. So we can both go, well, I'm really glad I met somebody, we're on the path. And then they still call me for therapy because something's wrong and they don't know what it is. You know, we both read the same books, because there's no we involved yet. There needs to be magnetically a point right here that as you grow forward, you're also constantly coming closer together. We're doing a workshop today, if you want to join us, if you haven't already signed up. It's our search for God. And one thing we're going to talk about is this, it's funny, Edgar Cayce channeled material like A Course in Miracles. His version is called A Search for God. So it's a book of 12 and then it became 24 lessons. It's interesting. Out of all the things that Cayce could have channeled, we're going to, step one, lesson number one in awakening Christ consciousness. You're asking about awakening Christ consciousness. The first lesson is cooperation. Well, why isn't it achieving inner peace? Why isn't it learning to levitate? Cooperation? That's all you got? How come A Course in Miracles is 1,000 pages of relationship, healing relationship? It doesn't talk about whether you should kneel or stand. It doesn't give you Sanskrit words to recite. It doesn't give you Monday do this and then every alternate Wednesday do that. It doesn't tell you anything about external rituals. You know why? Because he's saying you've had this for hundreds of thousands of years and you still don't like people any more than you did then. So he gives you a book on psychological, spiritual psychology on how to heal yourself in relations. Because as you heal your relationships with others and yourself, you're healing it with God. That's why Jesus said, don't tell me you love God and then hate your neighbor. And then he adds to that, you're a hypocrite if you do. There's Jesus being firm. The word hypocrisy was the only one he spoke firmly about. The only concept. Because he's saying, you can talk God all you want, but if you're not living it in love and service, kindness, then don't tell me anything about it. So A Course in Miracles is all about healing relationships. Edgar Cayce starts a search for God. Lesson one, cooperation. And that means getting to a place of healing your perception of people. Not just your negative perceptions. Even when you think people are better than you, they shine brighter, that's still transference. Recognize everything you see is part of me. Everything I see is just mirrors. That person's a jerk. That race I don't like. That culture I don't like. That gender, whatever. Go ahead, blurt it all out. You're only talking about one person. As the Sufis say, there's only one of us here. And the more you validate, be careful when you try to validate your opinions. You know, I know that we're supposed to be loving, but you know, some people, brunettes, men and women with dark hair, I think there's something that needs to be looked at there. But of course, they're not going to. You know why? Because it's blondes who wrote the programming, and it's, brunettes that intercepted the programming and sabotaged it, psychic, whatever. The more you support your opinions, the more you're supporting your separation from God. Why? Because you separated from others. So the whole metaphor is, as I join with others, I'm becoming reintegrated. The first law of the universe has always been, the Lord thy God is one. That means the more you talk about other and validate your stuff with others. But but it's true, brunettes, everybody knows. Okay, the more you do that, the more you're now becoming what's called schizophrenic. Spiritually schizophrenic. The more you validate your judgments, and the reason I call it schizophrenic is because you're seeing things and talking about people that aren't even there. Well, brunettes, try that with God. Hey, God, there's this thing about brunettes, and God's going, what's a brunette? Dark hair, what's hair? Well, it's on the top of our bodies. What's a body? and then it's like, forget it, God, I'm putting you back up there because we're way down here and you just don't get it. You're too far away from us. And God's going, and so it is. How you guys doing down there? We're in pain. Well, no kidding. You have to reintegrate me. How do we reintegrate you, God? You want to try again? Here's how you do it. Tip, you and the people you don't like. Start thinking of yourselves as one. Start loving and being of service to people. Random acts of kindness. You and anyone and everyone else have to grow closer together. Acts of cooperation. And it's not always easy. You could be running a household and you could Om Mani Padme, and Boom Shakalaka and whatever you're doing as your prayer and your mantra. Great. But you have kids. Mom, why can't you kids get along? Look at Mommy. I'm all so integrated. And they should say, if they had the awareness, they'd go, we're just you. The reason we don't get along is because we're mirroring you, Mom. It seems to me you have some inner conflict, and, little Charlie and I are kind of, mirroring this to you. But people don't have that awareness. But it's true. On some level, the kids fighting, it's showing you a lesson today. And you can try behavioral modification. You can tell them behave or else. There's all kinds of things people do to get others in order, your employees or whatever it happens to be. Whoever the observer is, you in this case, don't forget the spiritual component and don't forget the personal component. They're mirroring you. And don't forget the spiritual component, which is calling in the power of God. Each of your children has a spark of light in them. By seeing them as argumentative, you're affirming that will continue. Friends of yours. Now, it's not always easy because it takes something called patience, which, by the way, is in A Course in Miracles as one of your lessons, and it's in Casey's Search for God as one of your lessons. Patience, it's one of the recurring or, restated principles. Patience. Patience doesn't mean biting your nails, because you have to tolerate the world. Patience actually means that you know that the game is rigged and everything's going to be okay. Patience means I know what's really happening here. This is just a mirror of our inner conflict, and as I resolve this, you can all retire from playing that out for me. You like that one? Yeah. So it's one of the most important things we can learn to understand. This concept of I have to learn to get along with everyone, to be at peace with everyone. And the world's going to fight you. Every counselor and healer and parent and partner should know these rules, how this works. Tip the thing to the side and start moving in the direction with them. It's called bridging. Learn to think as a we, and that's called bridging. So they might do things you don't agree with, but are you bridging? Are you bonding? No, I just don't like the way they are. I don't like their music, so we're just different people. The Holy Spirit of God, the Divine Mother, has no ability to see differences like that. All she can do is say, where are you finding harmony? How do you find harmony with things, bless you, with things like war? By not judging soldiers that are doing what they're doing. By not judging even nations that start the wars. Not judging it. That doesn't mean you go, okay, okay, war's okay. All you have to do is smoke enough pot and it'll feel okay. Just get stoned and you'll go, I'm feeling so much better about war in Europe today. That doesn't mean you're healed. There's all kinds of ways to be in denial. Are you able to sit in your body and say, what I see outside mirrors my inside? If I hate people, nations, for going to war, then my spleen and liver are going to be conflicted. If I hate the way people aren't getting along in politics, then my right lung, politics, left lung are going to be competing and hating each other. You see? If I start making favoritisms, the right and the left of politics, someone's suffering. And I know this is charged for some people, but how nice when we can say, you know what, I get it. I really appreciate when anyone comes from sanity. So thank you. Thank people, anyone in history. I don't care if they were right or left and you were the opposite. Give credit to them anyway. Give credit to the craziest cultures, that have done some horrible things in the world. Give credit for the good that they have ever come up with. Give credit for the good. learn from that which wasn't so good? How do you learn from that? Bring it to yourself and say, what does this represent to me? What does this symbolize to me? And allow it the good to integrate, and you let go of the rest. That's the way the body's designed. Ingest what you feel would be valuable for you, but you're supposed to not just ingest, digest it. Break it down. And what did you learn from this? But the key is assimilate what you can of nutrients from that food. I don't care if you take the highest pharmaceutical grade supplements. If you do not assimilate the good out of them, they're worthless, right? You have to assimilate. You'll die of malnutrition, even with the best vitamins. How can that happen? If you are not assimilating. If you go to a doctor and they say, okay, we've done a bunch of tests, here's the issue. If it were me and they say, your body's not assimilating, I don't just go, oh, it isn't. I start to go, oh, there's deeper meaning to that. Why am I not assimilating? There's reasons biologically, but those are mirrors of psychological. Why am I not assimilating? If I don't like what I'm ingesting in life, I'm so tense I can't assimilate. How am I going to assimilate it? That's like saying I agree with it. I approve of it. I refuse to assimilate any of this behavior, any of the world's decisions, the political decisions, you know? And then you can't live. You're dying already. So being awake is kind of like saying, despite the way the world is, there's another way of looking at this. Despite the way the world is, one of you asked about surrender. Of myself, I am nothing. Try the affirmation, I don't know. Do you believe in wearing masks and not wearing? I don't know. Do you believe in right and left politics? I don't know. But your head's going to say, but we do know. Shh. The one that thinks it knows nothing. And the more you want to substantiate that you know, it's called arrogance. And that one is going to cause separation between you and God because there's no humility. There's no surrender. There's no vulnerability in the healthy sense of vulnerability. When I say vulnerability, I don't mean vulnerable to being attacked. I'm talking about vulnerability, meaning recognizing nothing can attack you. Nothing has power over you. That's the healthy version of vulnerability. But here's an interesting piece. We take the triangle of relationship. When you want to merge with another person, you start thinking as a we, and it's beautiful. But we do have two people. It's not like you just go home and say, honey, guess what? You and I are going to become a tilted pyramid, and now all of a sudden everything works. They're going to go, tilted pyramid, huh? But what you want to learn to do is, how do we start thinking as a we? Don't stagnate, don't go backwards, don't separate, don't codependent, and don't move forward without getting closer together. None of those will work. Some are going to be a little healthier than others, but they don't ultimately work. So merging and becoming closer to other people. Be vulnerable. Talk about how you feel about certain things. Instead of saying, I like that we're on the path together, but I think we could speed it up if only you separated now. Instead, talk about what you appreciate. This is amazing that you and I have been getting closer. I mean, I knew we were already close, but look what's happening. Like, I'm starting to realize where you come from. And here's how I feel about it. And when you have triggers, talk about how you feel. Don't say, you cause me triggers. And if it's something like they speak disrespectfully sometimes, just talk about, I'm starting to work on communication. Now, some of you are going, but that didn't get across that I'm mad about them. I know. Do you want to be right or do you want to be happy? So how do we talk about this? Start talking about you, not in a narcissistic way, but talk about your feelings and I will start hearing you. It's an amazing thing. Tell me that it's me and I'm going to shut you down. That's what people do. They have to have defenses. Blame, shame, you're going to lose the person and go this way. I'm looking for ways that we can get closer in communication. They're going, oh, well, I can hear that. But the only problem is you. Done. How can we get closer? I'm looking for ways. Well, what do you have in mind? Well, I'm thinking about this and that. And even when they say, but I agree with 3 out of 4 things you just said, but that one I don't agree with. Don't say, well, I can understand why that one might not be agreeable to you. Understanding brings this. You know why? Because I love you enough to understand where you're coming from. If I'm trying to make a point, I lose you. You have to not just practice understanding. People can write books, on greater understanding and communication. If there isn't a chapter on loving the other person, I'm not going to read it because it doesn't work. I have to not just listen to you. Technique, that's a nice technique. But if you don't know why you need to listen to them, do you hear what I'm saying there? Why? What's the intention? Well, I was told that I have to listen. That's not really there, is it? I was told if I want to stay married, one client this week, I was told if I want to have sex, I got to start doing different things. Wow. Wow, right? That's not how you get there. It's let people know. You don't have to say the words, but let people know on some energetic level the reason you're wanting to work on things as board members, as team members, as politics, as a counselor, or whatever you do in this world. Convey that you love them and care about them. When you do that, people feel valued and they come out more. See, you're helping people heal and you haven't even done anything outside yet. It's all in here. Why do I choose to give you an extra 5 minutes in session? Why did I choose to give you 10 minutes extra in that massage if I'm a massage therapist? Why am I listening to my child who I know did something they shouldn't have, but they wanted to tell me what's going on? Why? First and foremost, it's love. Let them know you care. It's an amazing thing. Convey that people have value and they will step into acting like they have value. When people act hurtfully, it's because they don't believe they have value. That's why they're acting out. You see? They're attacking because everybody's taken from them. So give. Give time. I'm not talking about enabling or codependent kinds of behavior. I'm talking about, give time, give what you can, be of service. We're going to talk about that a lot in the workshop if you join us, but I'm not leaving you hanging there. It's clear what I'm saying. Be kind. Show people that they have value, and everything starts turning around. You're asking about awakening Christ. This being of service is one of the primary lessons to awakening the Christ. It's an amazing thing. I mean, look at awakening Christ and you think the metaphor of Jesus. What did he do? You can't give anything greater than to give your life for a friend. Now, don't take it literally. It doesn't mean die. It means give your life, give your love. See, and what it means by Jesus saying, you cannot show any greater love than when you give up your life for another person. Hear what I'm saying. Your ego life. When you can put your ego aside for another, you've given up your false life so that you can achieve a real life. Does that make sense? That's the greatest thing you can give to another. Your life, not your mortality, not your death. Nobody should have to pay a price to do good. It needs to be seen very different perception around the whole thing. Now we have another complication. Two people trying to become one. Learn to look at the deeper things instead of just what I want from the relationship. I want you to start validating me. I want you to start this. When you have a list, then it means those things are already a problem in you. Even if I'm gone, I leave. You leave me, I leave you. You still carry the baggage with you. People walk up and they're gazing in each other's eyes, starting a new romance. The reason they're gazing isn't just because of authentic, deep love. They're gazing so that they don't look at the luggage you're carrying behind you when you walked into the relationship. Oh, I love looking in your eyes. Don't look, pay no attention to the man behind the curtain because you're carrying all this baggage with you. Anyway, that's a funny visual, isn't it? But a wounded person, the more wounded a person is, unhealed a person is, the wounds aren't just because wounds constrict and they block love. So when a person approaches another, even if I'm all broken and I approach you, and even if you're healthy, I can try to do a couple of things. It's either going to be, you have things I don't have. You have healthiness. So I'm going to latch onto you and just try to suck energy from you because that's codependence. So another option is, I'm going to try to not make you think I have wounds. The wounds are going to manifest as masks. Look at me. I'm kind of a person who's really successful, but I'm doing the mask of success so you don't see the wound itself. The insecure guy, right? That's what we do. Mask. That's one option. Just hiding our wounds. The other is it starts to become more apparent that the wounds are there and it's please don't leave me. Please don't, please give me, do this, that, and the other. And those are the two reactions we're going to have. So if I approach you with woundedness and you can be healthier, my intentions are not as good as you think. I'm either going to get triggered by you being healthier and run from you because you remind me that I'm wounded, or I'm going to try to latch on and get your healthiness from you. So what do we do if we're two people growing together as a we? I can say, back off, I'm healthy and you're not. That's this. I can say, oh, please don't be unhealthy. That's this, where I'm jumping into your quicksand. There's all kinds of different directions we go. How do we do this? It's interesting because the healthier one, let's say that's you, and you're working with clients, children, whatever it happens to be in your life. The healthier one has to know how to hold space. So let's say you're standing a foot away from each other in this metaphor. The woundedness I feel, if I'm the broken one, the woundedness I feel would take the form and be advised. We all have puzzle pieces or facets of ourselves. Your confidence level, your courage level, parenting. These are all pieces of our being. But if I was all messed up in being raised and I had no parenting, and a foster child, I had no parents at all, or I had one that was dysfunctional, one that was abusing, etc., I don't have any modeling for healthy parent. So that puzzle piece is broken. It's either not there at all, like a neuron that's missing. There's no program of healthy parent. So I walk up to you and, hi, nice to meet you, but I'm missing that piece. When you try to be a healthy kind of parental role to me, I'm either going to latch onto you, please don't leave because you're my parent, or I'm going to say, what are you up to? Because I'm going to be suspicious because I don't have it and you seem to have that, and I'm wondering what you're up to. What a weird way for two people to relate. So the puzzle pieces. If you're wounded, if you've been hurt, you're missing something somewhere. I don't have healthy role model of marriage, partnership, faithfulness, spirituality, whatever the puzzle pieces are. It would behoove us all to take an inventory of that. Where are the puzzle pieces? What's missing? I'm telling you, it's glorious. A close person to me, I shared that with them once, where they were fighting and struggling to try to, partnership and issues like that. And they were seeing counselors, and nobody was figuring out why they were having such a terrible time with their partnership and with parenting their children. And one day I said, go to your counselor and ask them this. Do I have any healthy modeling of parenting? They did. The counselor went, absolutely not. Then why didn't you say that? Anyway. They went all through this counseling time and money spent, and they never told them that. It's brilliant to come to this understanding. You don't have it. That's why you're fighting to be a better parent, because you don't have it. You don't have that in you. Now that might sound like that's terrible to own. It's the first step to healing it. So it's not me. It's not just that I'm a destructive person. I don't have that here. How do I get it? The healthy person can say, let me stand here and mirror that to you. Here's what boundaries look like. I don't even know, how do you spell boundaries? I don't get it at all. You're right. Let me show that to you. Here's what parenting looks like. You see? And you see modeling, and that's one way to heal this. See that you're missing it. Watch for healthy versions of it, soak in, assimilate those healthy versions of it, and give thanks for every ounce of change in your life. That's how it's healed. But it's very strange to be standing in the world and start to realize, talk about vulnerability, you start to realize, I don't have partnership modeling anywhere. I'm missing that neuron, And if you start to own this, you might think you either have minor issues or major personality disorders. Oh my God, because I'm missing key pieces. Everybody's missing something or other. Own it. and look for healthy modeling of it. But I will tell you, there's no healthier model than God. To say to the Divine Mother, I don't have a clue on how to be a healthy partner. Teach me. Now, in your head, you could go, what does the Holy Spirit know about marriage and partnership? She lives in heaven. She lives in every one of us, and she knows every ounce of what works and doesn't work. She knows where you don't have the modeling. She knows the best route to getting that modeling in you, to get that program in your being. And it might just download as like a vibe. It might download as kind of an etheric energy that becomes a blueprint that becomes my behavior. But it also might be that she'll say, this time we're going to bring someone into your life. Any of you who have ever had a more mature female counselor, sponsor, and so on, that person technically was playing a role of modeling mom. If you've ever had a healthy male, particularly if they're older, you're having modeled to you healthy, if they're behaving healthily, healthy dad. The universe is always trying to give us these pieces. Everyone, even if you've lived in poverty, you've at least heard of somebody that lives rich and abundant. Why? Just to make me feel more miserable, to really rub my nose in it that I'm broke. Hey, did you hear so-and-so, won the lottery for the 5th time? Oh, that's great. That's great, because I don't even have coins in my pocket. That's why it's happening. People don't realize the modeling is your potential. The modeling of Jesus is your potential. Oh, that's a good one, because I too want to be crucified. No, it isn't. That's not what his point was. His point was to say, even when you feel crucified, it has no power over you. Resurrect. There's the modeling. I'm going to show you how to resurrect from all your problems. That's the modeling. So we have a whole new life, being born again, awakening the Christ, as you're asking about. And we're going to have our smaller and huge, sometimes huge lessons that come to us. But again, what do? I don't have much problem solving kind of neuron in me or puzzle piece facet of my being, facet of my soul. I'm missing the problem solving facet of my soul. Technically, there's a part of us that can't be missing a piece. It's our divinity. Then why are we identifying with the broken? Because on earth, very few people are in touch with their soul completely. So it looks like I'm missing Dark Night of the Soul the first time majorly. I was around 30-ish. Now, I met somebody in high school. We got married, and we're married like 10 years. So let's just pretend it's like from 20 to 30. Dating in high school a bit. So I had no idea what anything was. I had never done any of that stuff. I had friends that would go to nightclub. And then I had kids. I'm just doing that. That modeling I had. I didn't have any of the other. How do you date? What do you do? And so here I am 30 going through the dark night of the soul. I've never been to a place to dance or anything like that. So, I'm hearing music down the street because I was sleeping on a couch in my office. That's how wonderfully things were going. And so I'm like, what's that? And I go and I'm looking in the window for the first night or two I walk by, because I go for walks, first night or two, sensing what's going on. Then eventually I go in and leave, go in, and then eventually go in, sit down. And, I'm gradually, start with a toe in the water, gradually showing up. Now I'm in there going, wow, music is going on. Do you want something to drink? No, just a soda, please. And I have a Coke or whatever. And I'm listening to music. Then next thing I know, I'm telling the band, hey, do you need anybody to help you roll up the chords at the end of the weekend? And they're like, why is this guy offering to help? It's because no matter where I go, I'm still me. Even though my life was falling apart, I'm still me. So I'm still being helpful. They don't know who I am, what I do. I'm just Michael. But I'm going through the dark night. So part of what I'm saying is that I remember this strange feeling of watching these people and just going, so this is what humans do. I swear, I was like I was Mork from Ork observing planet Earth, just going, it was really surreal. And I'm like, she's going home with him. They just met. This was all so foreign. And then I told my ex, she said, what did you do last night? And I'm like, well, I went out dancing. Did you dance? No. She goes, why? I go, nobody asked me. I'm like, you know what I'm saying? I had no She goes, well, you could have asked. I went, oh, that neuron's not there. Nightclub hooking up, it's not there. You see, I mean, that's how foreign. But laugh about it a little bit, you know? And she said, well, when you're ready, they will ask. And I just went, oh, that's true. I should consider taking responsibility. Changed everything for me. That one slight comment that came from her, which was kind of a comment of support, right? Just like, well, when you want that, when you're ready, it'll happen. I'm like, yeah. And then it can't just be a sentence to me. I'm like, oh. And it starts downloading all this meaning. Oh. One of them was, oh. So that's one reason why it's not happening. Because I'm out of marriage still like this a little bit. I don't want this yet. So I'm not a victim. I'm just, I get it. And I also then knew, and when I want to, it will happen. Now that's very scary for us, because when you realize that you could part the mountains, that can be intimidating to us. Recognizing how much power we really have actually sounds like, wow, I won the lottery. It actually comes with some responsibility. You see? If you suddenly realize that you're beautiful, you can go, well, it's great to realize that I'm beautiful. But with it comes, and do you use that to attract people and use people, right? So there's a conscientiousness in us that doesn't want the negatives to happen. So for me, I remember that. I remember once I realized I had the power, when I walked into that place, never did anything seedy or weird, never drank or anything. But when I walked in, it changed. When I changed, suddenly there would be a group of 5 gals going, hey, will you dance with us? Well, of course, man. And what's good is I just became like what seemed to them as like the gay safe guy. But is it because I'm gay? No. But because deep down, I wanted to be safe. I wanted to be healthy. So that was still conveyed. And then I'd be dancing, 5 gals in the bands up there playing there. And I swear to you, they'd be looking at each other like, how is this? What's happening? How's this guy dancing with 5 people, at the girls at the same time? Because when you get clear, and you can be clear of all the extraneous potential harms, because when you have a conscience, you want to be clear, conscientious about potential harm. When you clear all that, you're like this pillar of light. You can't not attract the people to dance, but you don't use them. You can't not attract greater prosperity, but you use it and pay people's bills in a grocery store. When you really find that power in yourself, everything changes. And you can't do it if I'm in this alone and there's no other. When somebody says to me, have you considered that you're another and everyone? Who's your soulmate? When all this is done, right now there's still people looking for their one and only. And when that doesn't work out, they're looking for their other one and only. But how many one and onlys can you have? It's only one and it's only. But oh no, it's a different one and only. I had spiritual teachers come to me. Michael, I want to introduce you to my beloved. And they stare at each other a lot. Yeah, she's my twin flame. And I'm like, oh, nice to meet you. And then I'm like, oh my God, you have no idea. Because 6 months later, it's someone else. This is my beloved, my soulmate. And I'm like, yeah, I remember. It's a different person though. It's true. When we really get down to it, you're not alone. You're not what you think. We look like we're individual bodies. We are one body. We are one spirit being called God. But we fragmented. And in the fragmentation, we became lonely and afraid. And that becomes desperation to hook up with others and find your one and only. And it's okay to do. If there's 2 people that tell you about what a wonderful soulmate relationship they have, I think it's a blessing. Integrate the good from it. But do know this. One day you will be soulmates with every soul that's ever existed. You can't single people out and say, well, I'd like this person to be. There's no discretion like that in God. It's all just love. Yeah, but brunettes love better than blondes, and redheads love less than brunettes, and that doesn't exist in heaven. Imagine the patience it takes Jesus to teach And he's downloading the deepest. Oh my God, here's how you awaken. Here's how you go home. He's like downloading the Tao, the Vedas, the Upanishads, the oneness of all life and consciousness. What do you guys think? And he feeds it to the apostles. How was this week's training? And they go, can we ask questions? Yes, this is the interactive portion of our Christ on earth. Do we have wives on the other side? And Jesus is like, oy vey. That's all you got out of this? Well, we just want to know, do we? One of them, when we get to heaven, can I sit at your right hand during dinner? Are you kidding me? You won't have a body. It's too much for them. Can we have wives? No! No! That's why I have 12 of you following me around. Get used to it. You're not going to have a lot of fun that way because you won't have a body, It's hard. The human mind wants what it wants. So for now, if people say, Michael, do you believe in this? I'll support you where you're at, and you should support them where they're at. But know the truth. Respect the illusion. Play along and help. It is helpful. I don't mean enabling harmfulness, ignorance. I'm talking about meet people where they're at, but always let your mind know a greater truth behind it. Michael, have you ever da-da-da-da-da? Yes, but the deeper truth behind it. We're all one. It's okay. Michael, why don't you choose to have a partnership or whatever? In a way, your mind changes about those things, and I just feel such a love for everyone. I'm saying I, meaning any of us. And the more you start to recognize your oneness with everyone, there's less of a need to single one out. But you can. Because you're so awake, you know how to do that without losing yourself in it. I love my partner on one level. We share this household, but in here, I love everyone. I love all the children on the planet, but I don't want them all moving in. Even if I make a good living, I can't afford to feed them all. So just keep that practical side. There's nothing wrong or evil about that. So it's an amazing thing to be on this planet and realize this planet, ego-based planet, fallen planet, it encourages separation. And only in your choice to love another person, I don't mean romance, I'm saying every act of kindness to another person, when you give to like the biblical and Jewish tradition, to help orphans and widows, when you help other people, every one of those becomes potentially a holy relationship. Because part of the definition of a holy relationship is where you see no other person apart from yourself. As you help others, you are helping yourself, but not in this selfish sense. We're in this together. Ease anyone's burden, ease anyone's pain, and you're easing it for everyone on the planet, not just today, everyone throughout history. Because consciousness can go backwards in time, forward in time, or stay present in time. All the goodness, all the love I can feel and appreciation and honor of other human beings will get soaked up by every being that's ever been here. Every time you help somebody to not feel lonely, my God, man, just reach and take their hand. We're not supposed to touch others. If that's what you're called not to do, don't do it. But to take the hand of a person and help them feel secure, even if it's a person passing away, to take their hand and look in their eyes and smile. Do that. Don't just do it with your beloved when you're in the mood for something from them. Take the hand of someone passing away. Take the hand of someone who doesn't have and remind them in some way that they have value. Comfort them. Support them in a way that you're called to do. Bridge with other people because there are no others. As you heal, you're not healed alone. As you take care of others, you're not just healing them throughout all time. So if I take a person who's been abused and they have no feeling of what safety means, my job today, my job as a healer, a miracle worker, mine meaning your job, our job, when you approach somebody who has no program of that, is to help add that neuron to their life. I've never felt trusted before. The way my mind works is, in what way can I help you feel trusted? And I don't know what way. It'll be varied per person. I've never felt valued before. my mind starts to go to that place. You see? Leave no one left alone in their hurt, in their misery, in their beliefs that they're unlovable. Do something of value to shift whatever's going on in the moment. And sometimes, I mean, honestly, your parameters might be very tight because you might be wounded and you're like, I can't afford any things going wrong if I'm going to try to be helpful to others. I got to stay close to home. Then do that. There's no limit, though, to what you can do, whether it's raising someone from the dead or giving them hope for a new relationship in their life, whatever it happens to be. The parameters for me, I realize sometimes I'm like, I'm so grateful. There's a part of me, it's almost the best and worst, in my life. There's a part of me that just refuses to believe in limitation. If someone's hurting in some way, my mind will go, how can I help? And the head could say, there is no way, they're too far gone, or their poverty level's too deep, whatever. I'm still going to try. And that's a part of me that I'm so grateful for. At the same time, trying and getting hand slapped makes us all hurt a little bit. You've tried to help your child and their addiction, and they just, you paid for their going into a program somewhere, a hospital somewhere, and they climb the fence, get out, and you lost your 30 grand, 50 grand, or whatever it is. Now they want to go into recovery again a year later. They're asking you, do you say no? I don't know. Each person has to decide. But it feels a little bit challenging. When you don't help them, you're going to be tempted to feel guilty. Don't. Only do what you feel the light of God is asking you to do. And don't ever do things you can't afford physically, energetically, emotionally, and so on. I don't have the money. I can't. Well, I'm going to mortgage my house? Well, if you love me, you will. They'll try that. The same way a person sinking in quicksand would rather pull you in, stand on you so they can breathe, and you can't. That's what desperation does. You have to have enough sense and clarity to say, I still love you, but I can't do that. I've already done that, or I can't do that. Be clear about these things. If you're not clear, you're showing your own wounds. See? If you can't hold your backbone on these things, you're seeing your own challenges and weaknesses. Never know what direction it's going to go. I volunteer at the estate sales that Judy does, one of our board members. I volunteer, and I never know. One day it could be, Michael, could you arrange flowers? If I've never arranged a flower before, I need to access that. You know how I access it? I channel it. I just call and ask to be the embodiment of that. Anybody can do anything. They just don't believe it. So all of a sudden I do something, and people say, that is a beautiful flower arrangement, Michael. You probably need to own that you're a gay, safe male. No. But one of them that was really weird, this estate sale, there's a bunch of guns. So all week I've been driving around with a bunch of guns in the trunk. Now, if somebody says, oh, spiritual leader, huh? And they're going to go after that. So Judy makes this arrangement, this guy that praises guns, and they don't want people going to their houses to, So I said, just put them in the back of my car, and then I can meet with whomever, and it's nice and safe. So, so I got all these guns, and the people showing up for them. It's not like Joy, who did the sacred reading. They all look like they're from ZZ Top. Not all of them, but, yeah. What kind of guns you got in that gun? So, but I come pulling up, I'm just me. I'm not doing this on purpose. I come rolling into the parking lot, SATURDAY, night. Keep on dancing to the rock and roll, a Saturday night. It's a Bay City Roller song. So I'm just singing along, and I'm pulling up, and it's blaring, and I'm pulling up to these guys, and, what can I do? I got, lower it, pull up. Hey, man, how you guys doing? I was just listening to some ZZ Top, and it's how awkward. And and that is how it is for me sometimes, where on planet Earth, there are pieces missing that I'm not familiar with. And it is odd. And you can be spiritual and still be missing pieces. like some of the dense decisions people make. If somebody said to me, Michael, let's go do a tailgating party. The Lions are playing the Packers. You know, it's like if you said, let's go camping. Just be prepared to fast. I don't know how to, we're not going to hunt down an animal for you to eat. Let's just fast. Put up a tent. I guess we're sleeping under the stars. There are pieces that just aren't there. But if I had to, I would say, God help me, and we would have some kind of tent. Which I'd probably light on fire so that keep us warm, you know, because I don't know how to light a fire, you know, I don't know. But look at your life. Look at where you might have missing pieces. Be honest about it, because if they're there, I'm telling you, you're either going to run from people that do have them, which is sad, because you had an opportunity. They could have mirrored it, and you could have breathed it in. The other option is you're going to latch onto people who have it because they have it and you don't. Codependence. Instead, watch for how they mirror it. And it's like if you're standing a foot or two away, imagine that their essence, their presence of having those gifts, those puzzle pieces, it's in their very aura. And all you have to do is stand there and breathe in the essence of the atmosphere of that person, and you're getting that downloaded. Get it from God and get it from your own experiences. Breathe in the things you think you are not. Breathe in abundance when you see abundant people. Resent them, and you've split apart from them. And if they symbolize abundance, you've split apart from abundance. Shooting yourself in the foot that way. Self-sabotage. Well, I don't do that. I'm a good person. I don't self-sabotage. I just don't have money. Watch. Ask for God to fill that piece for you and watch it in the world. Because God will say, I'll download it and I'll also present it to you. Somebody enters your life that shows that healthiness. And I think it's beautiful to know this, but I do understand that some people would be intimidated, scared, irritated even, hearing these kinds of things. But is it all making sense? Yeah. It's all there. God and others are mirroring not only your triggers, which need healed, but the missing pieces that you have a chance to soak in. There's a part of you that isn't missing anything. Let's find that part. Please take a few centering breaths. Centering, breathing, relaxing. Anything that made the most sense to you, for you in this talk, in this time, breathe it in and let it become your truth, your knowledge, your understanding. It's yours now. Breathe it in. It's not something some stranger talked about. It's something that's in the atmosphere now, and you have the right to reject it and run from it or breathe it in. Allow yourself to safely be vulnerable, to vulnerably be safe. Breathe these concepts in, whatever made sense to you. Imagine your life if those puzzle pieces are absorbed. Anything you heard that made sense to you, just take that, breathe it in. Then look at how your life might be changed by having that now integrated into your being. Let's take just a minute. Look in your life, an honest assessment of any missing puzzle pieces. If you can't just let it download and show itself to you, all you have to do is look for the most recurring patterns of challenge and dysfunction in your life, and you'll know there's probably a word for it, and that word would be the missing piece, the missing puzzle piece, the neuron. Where do you keep running into issues? You might be missing a puzzle piece about prosperity. Weren't raised with it, didn't understand it, don't understand it, can't relate to it. It could be partnership, parenting, anything that, confidence, courage, anything that just feels that foreign to you. And then let's bravely look in your life, please, to any person or circumstance that you've tried in this lifetime to bring in to fill in that space. When and where have you tried to use others to fill that void? And it could be anything from, I don't like my self-image, but someone else really is good at complimenting how I look. You're using them, even though you know it's a missing puzzle piece for you. Someone else that makes good money, and I'm glad I have them in my life because you're trying to fill a void if prosperity has been an issue for you. Own where you have an issue and look for where you've used others to fill that space. It's a courageous and very powerful thing to do. See that person and just hear yourself repeating the following, saying the following, sharing the following. I am choosing to forgive myself for projecting or transferring this onto you, whoever it is. Even if it's the world. I'm choosing to forgive myself. And I'm forgiving the others, whether they supported my projection or fought it. I'm releasing you. I am in God complete, so you can all retire from the roles I gave you. I can only fill this piece with God's presence. So I'm calling in the presence of God in the form of, and use your word, in the form of prosperity, in the form of courage. Whatever word you were projecting out that was empty in you, fill it, call it in. I'm asking for that file to be brought up, that folder, and I'm asking God to fill it with certainty on how to be this thing that I didn't think I was. Try to viscerally feel like it's a shift in you. You feel more courage, you feel more certainty, you feel more value, you feel more beautiful, or whatever the issue was. Of course you're capable of manifesting partnership. It's easy. But instead of feeling it's a void, it's a negative, but I'm choosing to have a certain now level of integrity and clarity of who I spend time with. Make it a positive like that. And every ounce of change, we give thanks. A little shift in my mind, a shift in my beliefs, a shift in my emotions, a shift in external manifestations. I'm giving thanks in advance that this is already turning around. And I feel so certain that this missing piece is now being filled with God and with people that model it, that I can learn from, not latch onto, but learn from and absorb from the ethers within myself. I'm so confident that I'm going to close the meditation by imagining me having such an abundance of this. I now, from a healthy, centered place, I see myself sharing it. If money was my issue, I see myself having so much. I tithe more, I give more, I'm left and right as much as I can afford. If it's affection that I don't have the piece of, I now feel so safe and alive. My God, I'm radiating. Light is beaming from my essence, from my core of my body. And I can't not smile, give hugs, take hands, say hello, greet people. It's all affection. See it happening. And by seeing it happen, we're programming it even more into reality, into our reality, into the universe, into the blueprint of life. Release the visualization with a knowledge that this is so. This is all mine now. And I give thanks. And so it is. Beautiful, beautiful. Really soak that in and integrate that. What did you hear that's making the most sense from today? Can anyone share? Yes?
Walking as a we towards the oneness of God.
Walking as a we towards the oneness of God. It's such an interesting thing. Remember, why relationships in the Course? Why did Casey start off with cooperation? Thinking as a we is probably, likely, potentially the first most important step to awakening the Christ. You see? Being of service, loving other people. They're all just variations of love. Love one another. This is Jesus, right? All these beatitudes, commandments of the Old Testament, all this, and he summarizes it. Love. Change it all to one thing. Love. Love one another. Love God. Love each other. But love as I loved you, which means selflessly. He even washed their feet. You see? And it doesn't mean just only with best friends, only people that you like. You know, how can I be of service? How can I be helpful? And I see that in myself a lot of, actually just last night, my prayer in falling asleep, I can't quote it exactly, but I remember saying, use me all that you can. For every stinking moment I'm on this planet, every second I'm here, I say stinking because it's a figure of speech, you know, because some people get offended if I say freaking. So for every dang second I'm here, use me as you will. Let's go for it. I mean, that's how I feel. I don't like, you know, God, I think I'll take the weekend off of being valuable to the world. Every dang second I'm here, let's do it. Use me as you will. And it's not like you go, oh, I better get ready. This is going to be tiring. That's not how this works. You're fed. You're fed by being of service. You're fed by being helpful and alive. It's life. And it won't always go the way. You place your hands on a dying animal and you'd like it to come back to life. The love you gave it takes it to another dimension anyway, takes it to a higher place anyway. Love serves on so many levels. It's just incredible. But to convey that to people, because if I say, yeah, just keep giving, and somebody says, you don't understand, I have this issue and that issue, financially I'm drained, physically I have no energy, it can seem intimidating. People will even get irritated at how much life and vitality you've got. So take it down a notch and bridge with them where they're at. Don't go, if you were better, a better person, look what you could have in your life. You don't make them feel bad. You try to, you know, like bridge, right? Anyone else? Yes? Yeah, when you surrender, the Holy Spirit can bring you the blueprint, the presence of that missing piece. Don't try to get it from others, but when you see it in others, breathe it in. There's a difference between sinking your fangs into their energetic body and trying to download it into you. I want what they have. That's different. Codependent psychic vampirism, that's different. I'm talking about thanking the image of it. Thank you, God, for showing me someone who is so confident that I see how to be more prosperous. You see? Oh, I love that. I love how they, you know, don't try to take it. Don't wish you had it. Be it. Call it into yourself. And give thanks when you see any shifts, because it anchors it in so you can go to another level. All right, we're going to do our, yes, dear. You embody wholeness. Nice. We're going to do our collection and do our closing prayer. Be as generous as you can be. We greatly appreciate that. You know, when I'm talking about people modeling, there's some of you that are very generous, donations and that sort of thing. And I appreciate everybody doing what they can. But I'm just saying, when I see someone being extra generous, part of my mind thinks, yes, and I breathe it in so that I can become extra generous. Does that make sense? I don't wish, I don't try to take it from them. They're simply mirroring something. That's all. And it's like integrated into your own life. Don't covet thy neighbor's gifts and talents. Be them, become them, breathe them in. So hold your love offering to your heart, please. And let's share the prosperity blessing. Divine love flowing through me blesses and multiplies all that I am, all that I have, all that I give, and all that I receive. And so it is. Thank you. It'll only take a minute for them to pass those around, but while they do, I want to mention the Global Center for Christ Consciousness is Sedona's sort of hub for study groups of any kind, support groups. Almost every kind of 12-step group, if you're looking for it, we have it here. But we also have a few different groups that practice and study A Course in Miracles here. And the Wednesday group has just, reconfigured a few things, and they're, launching to a whole new level of studying the Course, applying the Course. So we call it Living A Course in Miracles. That's the name of when I used to be on tour for the last billion years. Every Monday, whenever I went to a town, Sunday I would do a Sunday service and a workshop. Monday I always did something called Living A Course in Miracles. It should speak for itself, but it means living the principles, living practice, put it in practice. So we have that on Wednesdays. That's in the morning. We also have some evening course-related groups. So look online and take these things. Most of these are free. So, man, you've got all these things available to you to help you, to lift you, to hold you, space for you. Take advantage, not in the negative. Take advantage of these opportunities. We have coming up the Daughters of Heaven conference. If you don't know about it, the Daughters of Heaven, you go to the website, learn more, watch the video on there, read the book, Daughters of Heaven. But one thing that I say consistently is, you want to get on the spiritual path. You're either going to just remain just kind of a passive student on the path or a little more involved. And when you get involved, it's called being a light worker. Have you heard that term before? All right. Then you're like, yeah, man, I'm a light worker. I'm working to anchor the light of God, and help people awaken and go home. But Daughters of Heaven are like a piece of the light worker concept. It's a particular slice. Daughters of Heaven aren't just there helping people go home. They're instead trying to be the presence of God while on earth. There's a nice fine line between those two. And you might say, no, I'm barely on the path at all. You can be barely on the path and still feel the resonance, because Daughters of Heaven know how to call upon God's help. They're close to the Divine Mother, Mother Mary, Jesus, the concept, the apostles, Christ consciousness. Any of those words feel familiar to their soul, because they're not just studying horizontally about spirituality. They're like, you know what? I want to go vertical. I want to have direct connection now and become the presence of God. So it doesn't mean you have to be an advanced student of spirituality at all. But in your heart, do you want to go to a higher place? Do you want to shift your casual studies and say, I'm ready to practice being the presence? But it's not a load of work you have. There's no duties that you're given other than humility. And then ask the Divine Mother to start living through you. All right? And a last couple things. Just remember, we have the healing room outside in the parking lot, the round room. It's got the crystal bed in it, so you can go there and have some extraordinary healing experiences. Call the office and they'll tell you more about that. It's great to have everybody here joining us and the people online. Please remember, though, watching is great. You can share if you are discreet about who you share the programs with. You can like it and all that good stuff. But one thing you can do to help you and us get on our mailing list, click the button to go and get on our mailing list, or from here, just call at some point. Get on our mailing list, because that keeps you informed on what's happening here. You know, keeps you plugged into when there's conferences, sound healing, 12-step groups, and whatever else, so that you're a little bit more involved and connected, okay, on that level. We have the Enchanted Healing Room, and I have to add that the Daughters of Heaven conference is coming up the end of next month. So it's about a month and a half away. Sign up now if you haven't. Sign up. You can attend online or in person. But the people that are flying in or coming in to that conference, we have a healing room. This center has a healing room just a block away, where you can go and get bodywork massage, cranial sacral work, all these different things. But the appointment spots are filling up fast from people in September that are coming from out of town. So if you want that just in general, call and get your appointment. But definitely, if you're coming from out of town, get your appointment, because you come here, make the best of it. Get all the healing and whatever else you can get while you're here. But those spots are filling up fast. If you are coming from out of town, remember that we've got the conferences Friday and Saturday. But on Thursday morning, we're all going to go and share and do a baptism in the river nearby. And that's a really deep, powerful experience in itself. But join us for the conference if you can. And remember, this afternoon, we have our Search for God workshop. If you're already plugged into something, you can't get away from it, you can still sign up and just watch it later at a convenient time. So it's recorded, but you can watch it live here in person or live online, and also at a convenient time, okay? Thank you so much. Please stand for our closing prayer. Good. Just drop into the heart. Feel deep appreciation for everything shared today. A thought in your mind of gratitude. And just turn and look at any 1, 2, 3 people, and just a slight nod of your mind saying thank you. Give them a blessing by thanking them for their presence, for their work. Thank you. Nice. Online, folks. Nice. The light of God surrounds us. The love of God enfolds us. The power of God protects us. And the presence of God watches over us. Wherever we go, God is, I am, we are, and so it is. Peace be with you.